here with my little Miss Mila. She's going to hang with me while I film this whole video because she's kind of spoiled and she likes to be cuddled, and I'm so fine with that. I just wanted to jump on here and share my birth story with everybody for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I spent hours and hours and hours and hours on YouTube watching almost every birth story video under the sun, just to kind of get myself a little bit more comfortable and prepared with all the different ways these little miracles can come into the world, because I've been told, have a birth plan, sure, but you just never know which way it's going to go. And the second reason is because Mila was born during a pretty crazy time, the COVID-19 pandemic. So if this video helps any mums, dads, families who are going through the same kind of thing, having a baby during a pandemic, then hopefully this helps you, reassures you. That would make me really happy. So to explain my birth story, I'll go right back to when I was 14 weeks pregnant. When I was 14 weeks pregnant with Mila is when I first started feeling those cute little flutters. As the weeks went on, they obviously became less fluttery and more like kung fu kick in the stomach. Mila was super active in the morning and always, like without fail, super active as soon as I lie down to go to sleep every night. Anyone else, any other pregnant women, oh my god, do you feel me? Literally, you're so tired, you lie down to go to sleep and they're like, I'm awake. So from that, I got really used to feeling Mila being active at certain times of the day and kind of learnt her routine. At around 35 weeks pregnant, I believe it was just around Mother's Day, I noticed she wasn't moving as much, so I told my midwife and she said just come in for observations, which I did, and her observations came back perfect. So basically they put 2 bands around your stomach with 2 little monitors. One of them monitors, I believe, her heart rate, and then the second, the oxygen saturation, and they came back perfect. So I went home and figured everything was alright. She must have just been quiet that day. And then a few days later, I kind of got that gut feeling again. I was like, no, she definitely isn't moving the same. And in my head I was like, maybe it's because she's too big for the space, maybe it's because her sleeping pattern is changed. I just had no idea, but I was just giving myself all of these excuses as to what it could be, because I almost didn't trust my gut instinct because her observations were normal. So we went in again, they were normal again, and we went home. I was like, okay. A few days go by, I'm almost 37 weeks pregnant, and we're lying in bed and I felt nothing. They weren't weaker, they weren't less, they were non-existent. And I just turned to Carlo and I was like, I know I'm going to be so annoying. This is the 3rd time we've been in like a week and a bit. And of course he was like, no, you're not annoying, like it's fine, like you know best. And I was just like, she's just not moving when it's not right for her. So we went in, it was like the middle of the night, and we had the observations done again, and the doctor came in and he said they're perfect. And he asked me if I was like comfortable with that. I kind of said, my gut feeling, I don't really feel like it's right. And he said basically, well, the observations are normal, but we'll send you in for an ultrasound tomorrow just to be sure. And I'm pretty sure, not verbatim, I can't exactly remember, but he basically said, she seems perfect, but there's always that one that slips through, and you don't want to be the one that slips through. So we're always extra vigilant, so he sent me to get an ultrasound. The next day, I rocked up to the hospital by myself because during the COVID-19 pandemic here, we haven't been allowed to have any partners or support people at our appointments with us. And during my pregnancy, it was a bit sad because Carlo was missing out on seeing her and like hearing her heartbeat and stuff like that. But this kind of upset me a bit more because I had a feeling that my baby wasn't okay, and I was going on my own to find out, and the unknown was scary, and the what if she's not okay was scary, and to do that all by yourself was a bit daunting. I went, I was monitored again, her observations were perfect again, and then I went in for the ultrasound. Oh my god. The ultrasound technician was so lovely, and I am so annoying. I was so annoying. I just remember asking so many questions, like, oh my god, I can see her sucking, I can see her yawning, surely she wouldn't be doing all of that if she wasn't okay. And the ultrasound tech was like, yeah, I'm sure she's okay, she seems great, and was just reassuring me and making me feel so much better. So then we were looking at the results, looking at the percentile for growth mainly. So basically at our 30-week ultrasound, Mila's percentile for growth was at like the 25th percentile, which is still like little baby, but that's kind of the way she was tracking the whole time. So she was always roughly around that position when it came to growth. And during that ultrasound, they found out that she was in the 7th percentile. So it was almost as if like up to 30 weeks, she was growing, and then not really. And I just felt my stomach sink. And I was like, oh my God, is she going to be okay? And the ultrasound tech, as she'd been reassuring me the whole time, was like, yes, she's going to be great. So she sent me home. And I had the appointment with our obstetrician about an hour and a half later to discuss the results. And so I drove myself, went alone. I was already so upset. I'd obviously called Carlo and spoken to him about it. But I was super miserable because I was just like, there's something wrong with my baby. So I got to the hospital to see the obstetrician, and she sat me down and went through the results. So this is the bit that really got me nervous, and I'm sure a lot of other people have been in this position, and I'm sure a lot of people will continue to be in this position. The first thing she said was, Mila's breech, and I was like, great, the baby who has been the right way around, which is like upside down, is now the wrong way around. She was in the perfect position every single ultrasound we had until now, so I was like, great. And she explained that having an ECV, which is like turning them around from the outside, might put her under too much stress, and she is really little, so she wasn't sure if that was a good idea. And then she said your other option is a cesarean section, and then she went through all the risks of a cesarean section. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, one's going to harm my baby, one could have me paralyzed apparently. And then I asked, what do you think I should do? And she basically said that she can't tell me what she thinks I should do. I had to make that decision on my own. And I was like, oh my God, like what a weight to carry. And anyone who knows me knows that I am a sook, so I just started crying. And she basically said, look, you don't have to decide now, decide tonight, go home, talk to your partner, talk to your family, and decide what you're going to do. Come back in and meet me here. She gave me the time tomorrow, and we'll discuss. So I got in the car, called Carlo, cried the whole way home, finally got home, and we sat down and talked about it, and we came to the conclusion, obviously, that we had to just do what was best for the baby, and if that meant a cesarean, despite the risks, obviously do it. It was a really weird feeling. I was so upset because on my list of possible birth plans, a cesarean was just the last one on the list. Because I am such a sook, the thought of being cut open actually makes me like, even now after I've done it, makes me feel like sick. But the feeling of I have to do what's right for my baby obviously overpowered that so much. So I was just like, yeah, there's no question. We'll just have to go with the cesarean. So the next day, we met the doctor, explained to her what we were going to do. They gave me a steroid shot to hopefully help with Mila's respiratory system, get her like ready to roll, and went home. She booked me in for the next day. So we had the afternoon to just hang out, pack our bags, because I was expecting to be pregnant for another at least 3 weeks. So we finished packing our bags. I had the best shower ever. I washed my hair so good, and I even tanned because I knew I wouldn't be able to for a really long time. And then our family popped by, and a couple of my friends popped by to just say good luck, which was really nice. I finished off all of my little loose ends for work, did my handover for my job, and we went to bed. So I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, made sure we packed everything, just quadruple checking. I did my hair and my makeup because once again, cesarean, you just know when you're going, which is nice. It's a little bit relaxing knowing like exactly when everything's going to happen. So that wasn't too bad. We put everything in the car and then we drove to the hospital. When we got there, COVID-19 precaution, you wait to have your temperature checked. So we're waiting out in the freezing cold at 4:30 in the morning. The security guard and the nurse come out, take our temperature, ask us all the coronavirus questions, like, have you been overseas? It's like, no, I was here yesterday. And then we went through. We got taken to our room. You share rooms at the hospital that I was in just with one other person, and I was so lucky. Every person I shared a room with was just beautiful. And when I got that gown on, that's when the nerves started to kick in. I'd been so good all morning and I was so good all night the night before, but like as soon as I was in that gown and I was like, oh my god, this is really happening. So I was sitting with Carlo, we were meant to go in at 9 a.m. and it got to 9 a.m. and no one had come yet, and I was like, oh my god, and the waiting just made it so much worse and so much more nerve-wracking. A nurse came in, popped in my cannula to have me ready to go, and that was when I really started to like lose it. I'm a panicker, so I just started panicking. So finally the midwife came in and she was like, we're ready to take you through. So I was taken to the little like prep room, I'm guessing is what they called it. Carlo put his little scrubs on, super cute, and I put my little shower cap on. And then the anaesthetist, hardest word to say ever, came and did a run through of all these questions with me, and I could feel like, you know, that lump in your throat where you're just dying to cry but you just don't want to. I had that so bad because I was so scared. I just didn't want to cry. And then they were like, all right, Carlo, like you can wait here and you'll meet us in the room. And when they separated me from Carlo is when I lost it. I cried the whole time, the whole little like wheelie bed ride to the like little prep room, I guess. Like prep room. It was like another room before the theatre. Got there, they put the drip in my cannula, and I met the obstetricians who were both, can I just say, so lovely. I was so blessed. The midwives, like everyone, gorgeous, so lovely, obsessed. We went into the theatre room where the anaesthetist put the spinal block in. You're just sitting on the bed like hunched over. They ask you if you like want a pillow to hold. And I actually just held the other anaesthetist who was there because I was like, you guys, I just want to give you a forewarning, like I am a panicker. And then they were like, yep, we'll hold her. And yeah, it was just like a good vibe in there. Everyone was kind of happy and like joking around, and even though I was kind of joking around, I was like, no, I actually am a panicker, I'm terrified, like I'm low-key serious. It was like comforting, it was almost fun, which is weird. So spinal block went in, and then my legs started to feel nice and warm. They like swung me around so that my legs were up on the bed, and then did like the little feeling test with the little ice pack. He like put it on my forehead. He was like, can you feel that? Yep. And went like further down and down and down until you can't feel it anymore. And then the obstetricians did their little test, and she was like, can you feel that? And I was like, feel what? So it was obviously working. And she was like, oh, don't worry. And I was like, just out of curiosity, can you tell me what you were doing? And she was like, oh, I was pinching your leg with metal tweezers. And I literally, for the life of me, I could not feel anything below like here. So I was like ready to roll. Then they brought Carlo in, put the little sheet up, and we were grooving. The weirdest feeling in the world for me was when the nerves went away. I'm honestly not sure if it's like a part of the medication or something like that to make you calm, but after lying there for about 5 minutes, I was just like, I just remember I was like lying there and I was like, I'm so ready to meet my baby. And that was just like, it overcame any fear that I had. It was crazy. It was like biology. It was nuts. Even Carlo was like, I can't believe you're sitting here like so happy and, you know, blissful when your stomach's literally open on the other side of this curtain. And then I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said something like, are you ready to see your baby? Are you ready to meet your baby? And I was just like, oh my god, yes. And then they lifted her up over the curtain and she was just, oh my god. I know everyone warns you, like you just have no idea what it's like until it happens to you. It's so true. I did not expect to love her that much, which sounds crazy, but it was literally like, oh, I love her. She's the best. They took her over to the little table with the pediatrician, and Carlo got to cut her umbilical cord, and then they brought her over to me for some skin to skin, and it was so funny. I've got the little video of it here for you, but she went straight to sucking my neck. So cute. And then they basically said we're going to take her to recovery, and so Carlo went with her while I guess they stitched me up, closed up shop. One of the midwives in there asked me if it was alright if she took a photo of my placenta, and I was like, sure, doesn't bother me at all. And then I was like, just out of curiosity, why? And she basically explained that my placenta was battledore, which basically means that the umbilical cord is attached to the side rather than the front in the middle. And she basically said it could be the reason why we had experienced the reduced fetal movements and the growth restrictions as well, which was crazy. So they finished stitching me up and took me to recovery, where I saw Carlo holding Mila, and oh my god, my heart burst. So cute. And then they passed her to me, and side note, I never thought I would share this photo of me because it's the ugliest thing I think I've ever seen of myself. But they put her on me and she just started like drinking straight away, and I was just like, oh my god, what is this gremlin like biting on me right now? It was insane. So they came in, had a little feel of my tummy, gave me some extra medication, and took us back to our little room, and it was heaven. Like me, Carlo, our new little baby girl, we were just chilling out, soaking her all up because she's so cute. And then someone came in and said, Carlo has to leave because of coronavirus restrictions. You're only allowed here during visiting hours. And I was just like, oh my god, it's so not what I expected. And I was so upset. So there I was, a brand new mum, no idea what I was doing, no friends visiting, no family. Carlo wasn't there. It was just me and this brand new baby. And I was like, oh my god, how am I going to do this in here for the next 4 days all by myself? And so one thing that I was warned about that I wasn't prepared for was the emotional mess you are after giving birth, because those hormones just go so crazy. I was crying because she was so cute. I was crying because my TV was too loud and I couldn't reach the volume. I was crying because my phone was too bright. I was crying because I was hungry. I was crying because Carlo wasn't there. I was crying because I was lonely. It was insane. And it's hard because you take away your support people. You're all alone. You add those crazy heightened emotions, and it's just not a nice mix for your mental health. So when you put it into perspective, we live in a world where we're able to stay super connected even when people physically aren't there. I found that so comforting. All of my family and friends would like pick up their phone within like one ring if I called, and they were always messaging me and checking up on me, and I was sending them photos of Mila and we were FaceTiming, and I really, really felt the love, which I think was super important for my well-being when I was in there by myself. Another positive that I can draw from this is the amount of bonding I got to do. Just Mila and I was really, really nice. I think I was a little OTT. She probably spent like, I'd say over the 4 days, 3 nights that I was in there, I think she spent like 4 hours in her little crib next to me. So during the stay in hospital, the first day, because my cesarean was so late, they didn't get me to stand up. They did the next day and I had a shower. It's daunting, but you're honestly so fine. It feels like, I don't know how to explain it, it kind of feels like your stomach's not fully put together. It is obviously, but it just feels a little bit like, I don't know, loose. It's weird. But got up, had a shower, kind of just chilled out with Mila all day. She had a few tests, and then the next day we gave her a bath. It was pretty relaxing actually, just me and her, except for the visiting hours that Carlo came to see us. And then on the last day we were waiting to get the all clear to go home. Mila's birth weight, she was a tiny girl, she was 2.6 kilos when she was born, and they just had to make sure that she hadn't lost more than 10% of her birth weight. So we're sitting there like, oh my god, like please tell me we can go home. And she like just made it, we were good to go home, thank goodness. So we walked her out of the hospital, put her in her little car seat, and literally drove home with our baby. It was the weirdest thing in the world. I remember saying like, what, we take her home and then what? Like, how crazy. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about my birth story. Little Miss Mila. She's been asleep the whole time. Honestly, if this has helped any new mum get prepared for birth and what to expect, or helped a family deal with having a baby during this pandemic, I'd be so happy. Thanks for watching.